Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're looking at the 2015 Toyota Yaris, the smallest and least expensive car that Toyota offers in the United States. And for 2015, they gave it a facelift and a number of new features inside and out. So let's have a look.
For 2015, Toyota gave its entry-level Yaris a substantial facelift both inside and out. Most obvious is its new facial design, which shares the rounded mouth, button nose look also seen on the 2015 Camry sedan. At the rear, a new fascia design features a single backup light in the center, and a handsome roof spoiler finishes off the look nicely. Strangely, for 2015, the chrome exhaust tip was omitted from the SE, giving us a simple plain exhaust pipe instead. The SE still does have some bling though, with blacked out projector beam headlights, LED daytime running lights, fog lights up front with bright chrome trim rings, and larger than standard 16-inch aluminum wheels with black accents. The interior is similar to last year's Yaris at first sight, but upon closer inspection reveals newly designed and more upgraded surfacing, trims, and layout in every direction. Being an SE trim grade, ours had premium cloth seats. Also, with the Yaris SE was leather trims on the shift lever and steering wheel, which also had audio controls. Standard on all is the 6.1-inch touchscreen audio system, which has USB, Bluetooth, and auxiliary input for your devices. Its menu is simple enough to use on the go, and sound quality is what I'd call adequate, but no premium audio system option is even offered here. You can, however, option the navigation system for an additional $8.99.
The Yaris's interior is very simple in its design. It's uncluttered looking and is made with some pretty high quality materials. And I'm talking about the touch points. When you start running your hand around the surfaces, everything feels one or two ticks higher than its price point. These cloth seats in the SE, very nice I think, and I'm pretty impressed overall with the overall design and the fit and finish. What I start to fall short on are some of the features, and I'm talking about what I would expect in their fully loaded model. The first among them is a telescoping steering wheel. This one tilts, but as I sit here, I've got my seating position, my relationship with my pedals exactly where I want them, but my arms are a little bit more extended than I like. Most cars, I just pull that steering wheel back a little bit, get it back here so that my arms are in the right place, but I can't do that here. The other thing is, there's no armrest. Kind of a strange omission. Most competitors have that. You also don't have the storage that would normally be associated with that. Now, this does have the top of the line Entune suite with the infotainment system. All of that works very good, but there's a pretty glaring omission there, and that's satellite radio. It's not even here, and it isn't available from the factory. Odd, I think, because satellite radio has almost become a given in almost every car these days. The other thing, no backup camera. Now, that's not a big deal on a little car like this, but again, a lot of competitors are offering that. Room back here isn't too bad when you consider this is Toyota's smallest car. I'm about 5'10" and I've got 2 inches between my head and the roof. Now, if I had a big chunk of hair, maybe I was a little taller, it might be a little tighter up there. Up here, not bad either. Now these seats, they're not all the way back and they're not all the way forward, but I have about 2 inches between my knees and those chairs. Add that to the fact that the seating height is actually pretty good for a small compact car. It feels like a natural seating position. Now, you can put 3 across back here, although as narrow as this car is, it might be a little cramped. With 2, I think it'd be just about right.
The rear cargo area is somewhat minimal with the seats in the upright position, but you can fold them down in a 60-40 split for a near-flat load floor. Doing this gives you up to 15.6 cubic feet of cargo volume. Powering the Yaris is a 106 horsepower 1.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, which is mated with a 4-speed automatic in our tester. You can also have a 5-speed manual transmission in other models.
Now, this 1.5-liter engine offers what I would call adequate power for this class. After all, most people don't buy economy cars for high performance, but where this does fall a little bit short, I think, is this 4-speed automatic transmission. It really dates back to, well over a decade ago. In fact, I had a Scion XB back in 2004. that had the exact same engine and transmission this does. And even then, it wasn't exactly new technology. And while it works just fine, if this had a multi-speed transmission like a 6-speed, maybe even a CVT, I think we'd see even higher fuel economy than this is getting.
That fuel economy is an EPA-rated 30 miles per gallon city, 36 miles per gallon highway, and 32 miles per gallon combined. In our week with the Yaris, we achieved 32 miles per gallon combined, which is exactly what was promised. Keep in mind, we did have the air conditioning on most of the time. Stepping up to the SE trim grade also gives you a sport suspension, which isn't found in many of Yaris's competitors. Here, you also get better performing four-wheel disc brakes instead of the standard front disc rear drum setup.
One thing that I'm finding actually quite a delight is the sport suspension that's found here on the SE model. It really brings something to this class that not all the competitors have, and that's sort of a fun to drive experience. The steering, nice and tight, and the suspension just has a nice tuning to it, which offers kind of a sporting rebound when you're driving around town. Driving around, though, the ride in this is actually, well, it's pretty calm. Even though it has the sport suspension on it, it doesn't ride too stiff, probably really not a lot stiffer than you might find in the standard suspension on the base models. But road noise isn't too bad. Wind noise, not too bad either. For this price class, it's actually quieter in here than I'd expect.
When it comes to safety, the 2015 Toyota Yaris performs with good ratings in all of the IIHS testing, with exception of the new small overlap test, in which it received a marginal rating. With these measures and a lack of an available crash prevention system, the Yaris does not earn a Top Safety Pick or a Top Safety Pick Plus status from the IIHS.
Rounding it up for the Toyota Yaris, let's have a look at the specs. Now, as we can see here, we're just under $20,000. Fully loaded with the exception of the $1,000 navigation system. Now, fuel economy, not as good as I might have thought this car would get given its size, but as we look at the stars here, that powertrain sort of explains the whole thing because we've only got a 4-speed automatic transmission. That's about a decade or two back in terms of technology. Also, if you got the manual, you only have a 5-speed. Most cars in this class now offer a 6. I really think that if you had more gears in those transmissions, we'd see higher fuel economy, maybe even a CVT, and I'm not even really a fan of those, but they do offer up good fuel economy. Now, the infotainment system, another area that was really sort of missing because there's no satellite radio available here, let alone not having it standard in the fully loaded model. Being a satellite radio guy, well, that's kind of a sticking point for me. On the plus side, the SE here, this suspension is a lot of fun. It's nice and tight. Makes this car, well, it just puts a smile on your face when you sort of throw it into the twisties. So this week, it got 4 stars. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride.
If you enjoyed our review, please click on the link on the screen to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also follow us on the Google, Twitter, and that Facebook by clicking on the links below in the information section.